I call the member for Longman.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, in this country we enjoy many liberties and have extensive freedom in our lives. We enjoy access to many educational institutions, including internationally respected universities. Yet, Madam Deputy Speaker, sections of this bill, the Higher Education Support Amendment Bill 2012, threaten some of the liberties that Australian students enjoy. And the reduction of these liberties, Madam Deputy Speaker, has wide-reaching implications for the future of our society and for our nation. Madam Deputy Speaker, Australia's future and its future success lies in its ability to adapt to the changing conditions in its economy. We are well aware that as a nation we have significant challenges over the coming decades. As time marches on, we will be confronted with the challenges of an ageing population. We will be challenged with what comes with the association with the economy restructuring post the current mining boom. Madam Deputy Speaker, as I have spoken in this place before, it is our obligation and it is our responsibility as legislators to ensure that we are prepared and resourced to face these challenges head-on, to tackle them effectively and to ensure our future financial security. One of the planks which will form the structural foundation for the future of our economy is higher education. Education and innovative research will be absolutely critical to achieving higher productivity, better efficiency and new industry. Research and education will help enable this country to have a high productivity economy, affluent with opportunity, an economy where individuals are empowered, where they are empowered to be employed in innovative industries and earning higher real wages. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have spoken in this place before about the recommendations of the Bradley Review of Australian Higher Education and the implications that these recommendations would have on Australia. The Bradley Review recommends a goal of 40% of young Australians holding bachelor's degree by 2020. Perhaps a grand goal, but Madam Deputy Speaker, for a country such as ours, we need grand goals. And if we are to genuinely restructure our economy post the current mining boom to focus on innovation and research, this is a goal that needs to become a reality. But how can we encourage more students to achieve tertiary education, I ask? I propose that it is not by increasing the amount a higher education provider can charge under the compulsory student services and amenities fees. Madam Deputy Speaker, I propose that what this bill is trying to achieve by raising compulsory student union fees will have the opposite effect for students. Madam Deputy Speaker, it will make higher education less affordable and it will make it less viable for many young Australians around our country to attend university. Ultimately, Madam Deputy Speaker, this move threatens Australia's chances of achieving the Bradley Review's goal of 40% of young Australians holding a bachelor's degree by 2020. And for a country that is striving to achieve this goal, it is a strange move for those opposite to work to undermine this goal rather than supporting it. Madam Deputy Speaker, there are barriers to the entry of university for those around Australia. In some cases, this can be the sheer distance to travel to access a university campus. For others, it can be the cost of relocating to a metropolitan centre to study. For others still, it can be the difficulty of studying full-time and trying to earn enough money to pay the bills. Madam Deputy Speaker, if we want our young people to attend university, indeed if we want to encourage them to partake of the many opportunities available at a tertiary level, as policymakers we need to be doing everything we can to make the transition to university and time at university as practical and affordable as possible. Nowhere is this more evidence, Madam Deputy Speaker, than in my own electorate. My community is one where the majority of young people have not gone on to gain training or higher education. In terms of university participation, my electorate of Longman is ranked 144th out of 150 electorates. Every day I speak to people in my community who share with me stories of struggle to pay their bills, struggle to put fuel in their car, groceries on the table, and a struggle which has been made significantly worse by this Labor government. Madam Deputy Speaker, people are telling me that they cannot afford more costs. This struggle is not confined to families, Madam Deputy Speaker. Young people have these same concerns. How then can we expect Australians to fork out even more money for their studies when they are already finding it difficult to make ends meet. Madam Deputy Speaker, it is difficult to quantify now what impacts this will have on my community. How many young people will choose not to attend university simply for the fact that they feel they cannot make money stretch far enough to get by on their limited funds while they study full or part-time? But we can be guaranteed that there will be, if there are young people who choose not to attend for this very reason. Madam Deputy Speaker, if this bill and the resulting higher students' union fees that it causes force one person to choose not to equip themselves with the tools of a university degree for this reason, it is one person too many. Madam Deputy Speaker, my community is host to one university campus, the Queensland University of Technology, and the Caboolture campus of QUT, headed by Robert Craig, is a great community asset which has significantly invested in the future of our community through some important community engagement measures, which perfectly illustrate some of the difficulties that young people in my electorate experience in simply making the choice to attend university. Mr Craig highlights that one of the biggest hurdles is actually an aspirational one, convincing young people that they could and that they should attend university. That is a possibility, and that it is not too big of a hurdle to jump is the key to helping young people from my region overcome their background to go on to success at a tertiary level. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, how are we possibly able to inspire our young people and help them to aspire to university when the perceived hurdle of financial cost in attending university are only set to increase under this bill? Madam Deputy Speaker, I suggest that this goes against exactly the thing we are trying to achieve in our community. I suggest that it works to undermine the unsteady and wavering aspirational goals of students that we are trying to build up. Madam Deputy Speaker, another issue that this raises is the way this bill enforces university students to pay for so-called services that they may neither want nor need through their time at university. Madam Deputy Speaker, we on this side of the House have a long history in support of individual freedom of choice, to be voluntary, to be part of an organisation or association. We on this side of the House have long been advocates for voluntary student unionism at universities. It is clear that these actions are simply another example of a government trying to underhandedly go about reducing the freedoms of students and young people alike by introducing or reintroducing compulsory student unionism. Madam Deputy Speaker, the most powerful argument against this stealth attack of voluntary student unionism is the views of the students themselves. And we have a very strange situation here, Madam Deputy Speaker. We have a Labor government who truly believes that the majority of university students would be better served by seeing up to $263 of their money that they could buy 50 beers with, 175 litres of petrol or 40 pizzas, go to student politicians instead. Just how out of touch has this Labor government become? If the Labor Party can't understand a student choosing to keep nearly $300 of their own money instead of giving it to a student politician, let us talk in statistics so that the Labor Party might actually understand. And the statistics do speak for themselves, Madam Deputy Speaker. Only 5% of university students ever vote in student elections, and the majority, a massive 59% of students, indicated they were against compulsory university student fees in a poll commissioned by the Australian Democrats. Madam Deputy Speaker, why should students be subsidising student politicians' duplications of services through fees which they cannot afford, do not want, and for many young people are determined to entering into study at all? The answer is simple, Madam Deputy Speaker. They should not be subsidising. They should not be forced into forking out even more money, their own money, when they're at least financially stable. Madam Deputy Speaker, recently I was contacted by one of my constituents, Wes Draper, someone who commutes to Brisbane to attend University of Queensland. This young man was a conscientious physiotherapy student, and he contacted me to express his concerns over the reintroduction of compulsory student unionism. In his message, this is what he said: "I have recently found out that I alone will be paying $131 at the start of this semester to pay for services that I do not use. This may seem like a small amount, but I fail to understand how it is fair that so many students will be paying this fee even though we don't all use these services. Many of these services, such as food and drink, are paid for by us anyway. I would also like to point out that a friend of mine who studies 2 degrees is required to pay this fee twice. How is that justified? Is that not a double dipping? Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, Wes is just one of many people who have contacted me to express their disgust over these fees. And it is the concerns raised by Wes and many others like him that are the basis for which I do not support the move to increase the amount of money that universities can take from students. Madam Deputy Speaker, as policymakers in this place, the responsibility rests upon our shoulders to prepare Australia for the significant national challenges that our country will face in the coming years. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are well aware that part of this will include education and innovation in our industries. To achieve this, higher education will be a priority. Ensuring that enough of our young people are educated and contributing to research will be integral. And how do we achieve this, Madam Deputy Speaker? We achieve this by encouraging, not hindering. The best way as policymakers that we can make an impact and support our young people on this front is to ensure that costs associated with study do not increase. But this is exactly what this bill seeks to do. Madam Deputy Speaker, it seeks to empower universities to collect even more money from students who cannot afford extra money. It empowers student unions to force to subsidise their activities at the expense of students. Madam Deputy Speaker, as policymakers in this place, it is up to us to ensure that we have a society based on opportunity, of fair reward for hard work, where individuals are empowered and offered a hand up rather than a handout, where we as a nation can have hope that tomorrow will be better than today, and it is a vibrant and inclusive higher education sector that will be a key plank in achieving this. It is in this society that an individual's freedom to choose must be protected. It is this individual liberty that is directly under attack in this bill. It is this individual liberty that is under direct attack by this Labor government's student tax. On this side of the House, we will always stand up for Australians' individual liberty and for their freedoms. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.